It's Youth Day, but once again, young people are saying they have absolutely nothing to celebrate. They say most can't find jobs and are struggling to even start their businesses. Young people from Diepsloot in northern Johannesburg want the government to address their challenges. The area is plagued by poverty, crime, lack of service delivery, as well as high unemployment. eNCA's Manqoba Mchunu there for us and joining us live now to give us an update on what young people are saying. Manqoba, good morning to you and happy Youth Day to you, colleague. I mean, on the other hand, we're seeing Heidi with long queues, right, of young people saying they want to take advantage of opportunities. And it's no different in Diepsloot, where young people are equally saying there are no opportunities available for them in the area.
Indeed, Dumelo. In fact, you speak to many of the young people here in this community. They tell you that, they have lost hope in terms of trying to find employment. Of course, unemployment is one of the big challenges that are facing the youth of this particular area. But also another issue that's plaguing this community is the issue of crime. Dumelo, recall that just last week, community members here took to the streets. They marched to the local police station, where they were handing over a memorandum, just complaining of the high levels of crime here in this community. We're told that a weekend doesn't go by without, any criminal activities and, in fact, murders taking place in this community. And this is certainly one of the issues that is of great concern to many of the young people in this community, who say they want to see some action from government as far as dealing with some of the social ills in this community are concerned. They're saying that the issue of unemployment is also contributing to the crime in this community, contributing to the scourge of drug abuse in this community. But I'm going to speak to just some of the young people just to get their sense from here. Baba, thank you for your time. Firstly, as young people of Diepsloot, it's Youth Day. It's a day that's meant to celebrate the hard-earned freedoms that you are enjoying as the youth of today. Are you celebrating here?
Well, good morning to you and your listeners. Well, to be quite honest, no, we're not celebrating. It's quite a difficult time, I guess, that we're growing up in. I mean, we live in the townships, but as you can see across the streets, the youth are full. We have nothing to do. We have nothing to spend our time on. We have no activities. We have no form of help even from government itself, to at least encourage us to do better. I mean, you were speaking about crime just now. It's crazy because a lot of these people are people I went to school with. And due to the fact that there's no employment, there's nothing to do, they end up, these are our friends, but they end up looking to crime and to other things just to sort of, put bread on the table for their families and stuff like that. So it is a very, very big problem. Unemployment, we don't have, I just feel like there's no investment in the youth. We have forgotten, You look at all the jobs that people are applying for. They all need experience. They all need some certain level of degrees. And when you look at the townships and the people who really, really need these, they're not given that advantage, or they're not given that experience to go and look for their jobs. So it's very difficult. Thank you.
Do you think there's enough support, though, from government and, in terms of uplifting the youth, in terms of giving opportunities to the youth and skilling the youth in this community?
I certainly do not think so. If you take a look at the schools that are around Diepsloot, I'm just speaking about my the schools are they're not, construction isn't finished. You can just tell by the looks of it, firstly, that there's not much investment in the youth. You can just tell that the education levels, I mean, you speak to some of the kids, they don't enjoy going to school. It's just the thing that their parents tell them to go, and you have to go to school, but I feel like there should be a sense of enjoyment. I mean, it's a very important stage of their lives, and something that they should look forward to in the future. But there's no investment whatsoever from government, I certainly believe.
And yourself, in terms of responsibility that you've taken, are you running a business? What are you doing to try and change the narrative?
I'm currently working at this kitchen, just to put two and two together. But I have applied certain areas, but of course, knowing the current situation in terms of jobs in South Africa, nothing to no avail.
Okay, let me bring in another young person just to get a sense from you, Baba. As a youth of this township, are you celebrating? Do you think that there's anything to celebrate on Youth Day? What is your sense?
Okay, from my side, really there's nothing to be celebrated from here, because if you are to look at it, there's minimal programs which are actually aimed at uplifting the youth. If you can look at Diepsloot as a whole, there's around 70 to 75% unemployment on the youth. And the main thing, again, is actually crime. And if you are to look at it, crime is something that the community have been crying about for quite some time. And I mean, the community can actually, like you've mentioned earlier on, that there was a protest. As a community, we do form up and organize to actually try to cry about this crime which is actually taking place, which I believe it's as a direct you can say as a direct responsibility due to lack of opportunities. So I actually believe that the government is supposed to actually put a hand in terms of helping the community, because if you're actually having a community where there's 70 to 75% unemployment, obviously that is a recipe for disaster.
So the youth is hopeless here?
The youth is definitely hopeless. If you can see on the streets here, it's Youth Day today. People are supposed to be out celebrating and stuff like that, but none is actually celebrating. Those that are actually telling themselves that they are celebrating, they're in a sense not celebrating. If you can actually ask, some they'll tell you that they're planning on buying booze and all those things, which is not a celebration. It's actually a sign of no hope into our government.
Okay, let's hold it there. Thank you, brother, for speaking to us. As you can hear, those are just some of the sentiments from the young people here in this community, saying that, in terms of employment and some of the social ills, there seems to be hopelessness among young people because of the fact that they feel there's not enough support on the ground, especially from, government in terms of, trying to provide opportunities for young people. And certainly the issue of crime is also a big concern. The community had a public meeting yesterday, where they were ventilating some of those issues and a way forward as far as crime is concerned. So certainly not much to celebrate here from the youth of Diepsloot today.
Colleague, this reminds me of just a recent story you did out in Westbury, where issues pertaining to young people were still ventilated with regards to crime, why most of these young people then fall into crime, because it seems because there are no opportunities for them, the drug lords are willing to employ them to be drug dealers and then in turn get them in trouble with the law. And I suppose that's what that young person out in Diepsloot is telling you at the same time, that there aren't much opportunities when it comes to young people. And that in turn contributes to some of the high crime levels that we're seeing in our country. We'll continue to ventilate those issues right here. And thank you so much to you, Manqoba Mchunu, talking to some of those young people, expressing how they really feel during today's Youth Day commemoration.